Stefan, so you are using this, maybe at the basis the same data. It's the same overall set of data that you crunch on to provide advices to those who want to bid more. In the algorithms, in the methods that you have developed, do you think that some can also be used for different purposes, but around the same objective, making these tenders more efficient, and based on the same pool of data, or it's a different world? Is it a different approach to things?
Probably the objectives are a little bit different, but the problems are the same. So obviously from the private sector point of view, the supplier's point of view, they want to win tenders. They don't want to have a lot of competition, right? As a supplier, you want to be the only supplier. You want to be a monopoly. That's the ultimate objective of marketing, to become a monopoly. From the other point of view, the non-government organizations and the government, the objectives are a little bit different. But they also care about efficiency, about competition and transparency and quality of services. But the problems that we have behind, as you were saying and you also mentioned, are pretty much the same. So it's the availability of data, the quality of data, but I would like to add also the meaning of data. So availability is high, as you have underlined. The quality, usually low, but it is a complicated problem, meaning that if you throw enough resources at it, you will solve it. Meaning is what is very interesting, because if you have 8 million, we analyzed about 8 million contracts in our databases during the past couple of years. But if I give you 8 million contracts, it's meaningless, it's useless. So the question is how to create meaning out of this data, how to answer to relevant questions. And this is an area where AI can really help. And a lot of the applications that we have been seeing today at this conference and during these past few days are actually quite interesting in this area. So the question is not only how to deploy, we are not talking about let's deploy AI, let's have a lot of data. The question is what we do with this data. And for instance, example of applications that we have experimented with here and there are, for instance, detecting clusters of interests, which is done by a graph analysis. So we have a big graph, right, of contracts, suppliers, authorities, and consortia. That's a huge graph of about 15 million nodes. And some of the questions that you can answer by analyzing, by graph analysis, basically, machine learning and graph analysis, are which are the circle of interests, or which are those groups that tend to, concentrate in specific areas. And this is something absolutely interesting when you analyze, for instance, potential frauds, or oligopolies, which are obviously quite important from the other point of view of the buyers who want to avoid oligopolies and conflicts of interests.